Every night you fall asleep without thinking about what really happens to you during that time. You sink into darkness, into silence, into oblivion, and then you wake up as if nothing happened. But what if this isn't just rest? What if every night you die, at least for a little while? Edgar Cayce, the famous sleeping prophet, claimed, "Sleep is a rehearsal for death, preparation for the moment when the soul will finally leave the body." He said that during sleep, the human soul separates from the body and travels to other realms where time flows differently and reality follows completely different laws. We're used to considering dreams as brain activity. But what if all this isn't just random imagery, but memories of the soul's journeys? In this video, you'll learn where your essence actually goes every night, what it does in a place where words and boundaries don't exist, and why in sleep you come closest to what you'll one day face directly: death. In this episode, we'll reveal one of Edgar Cayce's most mystical theories, the concept of sleep as an image of death. Cayce believed that every night, a person leaves the boundaries of the physical body and transitions to other dimensions where the soul gains freedom. There it remembers, learns, heals, and sometimes receives important messages. This journey is almost always forgotten because our mind simply isn't ready to contain everything seen. But dreams, especially vivid and unusual ones, are traces of these travels. Through them, we get hints about what happens beyond existence. We'll discuss how Cayce described the soul's state during sleep, why he called dreams training for the post-mortem transition, and what secrets are revealed to those who consciously explore this nocturnal space. You'll learn how to understand your dreams, what they can tell about your soul, and why every dream is a chance to glimpse your own eternity before the final sleep arrives. At the end of the 19th century, in the small American town of Hopkinsville, a boy was born who would change humanity's understanding of life and death. His name was Edgar Cayce. From an early age, he experienced strange states where he could see images that didn't exist in reality, hear voices without source, and access information impossible to obtain normally. As he grew older, these abilities intensified. He would fall asleep, enter a deep trance, and begin speaking, with a voice that didn't belong to his waking consciousness. He diagnosed illnesses, spoke of past lives, predicted the future. But most interesting were his words about the nature of sleep. At that time, science was just beginning to study dreams, while mystics and philosophers debated sleep's connection to the soul. Cayce, without reading treatises or receiving education, suddenly began describing sleep as the soul's temporary exit to other levels of reality. His visions were so detailed they couldn't be explained by imagination. He claimed, "Every night we touch what will one day meet forever: death." To understand Edgar Cayce's teachings, we must examine his concept of the soul. According to him, a person isn't the body, but a soul temporarily enclosed in physical form. During sleep, this shell weakens, no longer holding the soul within familiar boundaries. Then its true journey begins. Cayce described the soul as an energy cluster, formless consciousness that leaves the body during sleep and travels to other levels of being. He called these levels planes of consciousness or vibrational layers. There's no time as we know it, no space as we understand it. Everything follows thoughts, feelings, and intentions. Cayce also claimed dreams are reflections of those worlds the soul visited. They're distorted, encoded, but if we learn to read them, we can understand much about ourselves and our spiritual path. The Akashic Records, another key concept Cayce worked with. He believed that during sleep the soul can access these records, the library of all lives, thoughts and actions. There it seeks answers, healing, even clues about the future, all while the body lies peacefully in bed. When a person falls asleep, they don't just disconnect from the external world, they go inward. In this state, Edgar Cayce said, the soul gets the chance to temporarily free itself from physical limitations. He compared this separation to a gentle exit, not abrupt and frightening like death, but natural, as if someone quietly opened a door and let you leave. Cayce described how during sleep, an energetic thread remains between body and soul. Though it thins, the body rests while the soul begins moving. Sometimes it stays nearby, other nights it travels much farther. According to him, the sleeping soul can visit subtle worlds where it communicates with other entities, gains knowledge, and sometimes returns with memory fragments we later call dreams. This process resembles training for when the connection to the body will sever completely. Then, following a familiar route, the soul will calmly proceed to where it's meant to be forever. Dreams, in Edgar Cayce's view, aren't just random images or subconscious activity. He claimed every dream reflects the soul's actual experiences in other dimensions. Some dreams he called educational, others healing, and others prophetic. Educational dreams occur when the soul encounters lessons it can't learn while awake. In sleep, it returns to situations requiring reconsideration. Healing dreams happen when the soul finds answers that relieve inner tension and pain. Prophetic ones are fragments of information from future events, accessible only beyond time. Cayce said the bodiless soul perceives the world differently, unlimited by logic or fears. It sees what's hidden from ordinary mind. This is why many vivid dreams stay with us for life. They contain experiences touching our deepest levels. Understanding such dreams means starting to hear your soul's voice. Learning to work with them means preparing for when dreaming becomes permanent reality. Edgar Cayce emphasized that in sleep, the soul can not only travel, but meet other souls. These encounters happen in special layers he called mental or spiritual planes. There are no physical bodies there, only essence, energy, intention, feeling. It's in such states that contact with the deceased becomes possible, with loved ones who long left the earthly world but remain deeply connected to us. Cayce spoke of dreams where people met departed relatives and received advice, warnings, or comfort from them. He insisted these weren't imagination, but real meetings happening at soul level. Sometimes in such dreams came those never known in life, but karmically linked. These dreams were often lucid, filled with light and extraordinary peace. After such encounters, people awoke with feelings of completion or epiphany. Cayce believed that in sleep, we build bridges between worlds, and these bridges will one day become our roads when we transition to another form of existence. Sleep, according to Edgar Cayce, isn't just communication with other souls, but also a mirror of one's inner state. He said the dreaming soul doesn't just wander externally, it often returns inward to aspects forgotten or repressed. This is why some dreams are frightening, anxious, or painful. They don't punish, but show what needs attention. Cayce believed recurring dream images, places or situations mean the soul is trying to reach consciousness. Such dreams are like encoded messages, and decoding them can change not just dreaming, but life itself. He advised recording dreams upon waking, analyzing symbols and feelings. Because in sleep we often meet ourselves unmasked, There are no social roles, expectations, or rules, only truth. Learning to hear this truth prepares us for the ultimate transition, the final sleep that won't end at morning. One of Edgar Cayce's most astonishing claims was that in sleep we can travel not just through space, but time. He described cases where souls revisited past events from other lives, or conversely received images of what hasn't yet happened. In sleep, boundaries disappear, so memories and premonitions merge into one stream. Cayce said some dreams reveal our karma, reminders of past actions whose consequences we experience now. Such dreams may show unfamiliar bodies, strange eras, languages or landscapes, fragments of soul memories returning to unresolved points. He maintained that lucid dreaming is key to recovering memory of our journey through time. That attentive people can remember who they were and understand why they're here. Because every dream is a message, every night a chance to glimpse what we call fate. In sleep, Edgar Cayce observed, the soul frees itself not just from time and space, but from logical thinking's limits. This lets it perceive information as symbols, images, and sensations that seem absurd when awake. Cayce claimed dream symbolism is the soul's universal language. A ship may mean transition, a ladder, growth, a mirror, self-knowledge. These symbols aren't random. They come from consciousness's deepest layer, where everything has meaning. In his view, deciphering this language reveals not just fears and desires, but the soul's path. Cayce also explained that recurring symbols indicate important knots, needing attention and resolution. These could be unresolved karma, emotional blocks, or spiritual lessons. He recommended treating dreams as conversations with our deeper knowing self. The more attentively we listen, the clearer becomes our path through life and through death. Edgar Cayce noted that in sleep, the soul doesn't just observe. It actively participates in processes that can change body and mind. He called this subtle work, where the soul heals inner wounds, restores disrupted energy flows, and even prepares us for future trials. He spoke of dreams where people received instructions for healing illnesses, changing lifestyles, or overcoming emotional trauma. These dreams often featured vivid imagery, luminous beings, energy streams, voices heard internally rather than externally. Cayce stressed that the soul always knows what the body needs, and if allowed, can guide us toward recovery. Thus, he strongly advised not ignoring even strange or frightening dreams. They may contain not just images, but healing energy. He believed body and soul maintain constant dialogue, clearest during sleep. The body rests while the soul works. This invisible nocturnal labor reveals the true connection between spiritual and material. Cayce said the soul leaving the body in sleep doesn't enter chaos, it follows specific routes. These depend on one's spiritual development, intentions, and current state. Souls of those living in fear, anger, or self-denial don't travel far, remaining in dense layers where dreams are anxious, confused, and frightening. But those seeking awareness reach higher levels where dreams become clear, filled with light and high-vibration symbols. Cayce called this sleep's spiritual hygiene. He recommended falling asleep with intention, prayer, or simple inward-focused phrases to help the soul choose the right path and receive useful developmental information. He also advised noting how you feel upon waking. Lightness and peace suggest the soul visited high realms, while anxiety or heaviness may indicate contact with lower levels. Cayce asserted, sleep's direction depends not on chance, but inner choices made before closing one's eyes. Lucid dreaming held special importance in Edgar Cayce's teachings. He considered it not just an interesting phenomenon, but a crucial spiritual practice tool. When lucid in dreams, we can directly interact with the environment, change scenarios, ask questions, and receive answers. This state approximates what happens after death, when the soul becomes fully independent and aware. Cayce said such dreams let us practice managing energy, intention, and attention. He believed the lucid dream soul is especially receptive to knowledge because the mind doesn't interfere and fear doesn't paralyze. Practitioners often told him of meeting teachers, visiting other worlds, and receiving otherwise inaccessible information. Cayce encouraged embracing this experience as preparation. The more confident the soul feels in dreams, the easier its passage when sleep becomes final awakening. Edgar Cayce believed everyone can develop lucid dreaming and spiritual perception by treating sleep not as mechanical shutdown, but sacred soul-meeting time. He taught that before sleeping, we should release daily concerns, clear the mind, and cultivate inner silence. This creates conditions for the soul to ascend higher and return with clear signs. Cayce emphasized it's not enough to just sleep. We must work with dreams. Record them, analyze them, track recurring images, emotions, and states. He said approaching sleep with attention and trust gradually opens its true doors, those leading beyond ordinary perception. Sleep becomes not just rest, but a road home. Because, according to Cayce, the sleeping soul does what it will do at death, leaves the body, remembers its true nature, and returns changed. If we learn to hear its voice nightly, we won't fear when we one day sleep forever. Everything Edgar Cayce said about sleep leads to one astounding conclusion. Death isn't a mystery if you listen to your dreams. He claimed everyone already knows this experience. We just forget. We fear death because we don't recognize what we encounter nightly. But the soul knows. It doesn't fear leaving the body because it's done so thousands of times, while you slept, while you thought you rested. The most important lessons don't come during noisy days. They arrive in sleep silence, where masks disappear and only essence remains. If your dreams grow brighter, deeper, clearer, your soul is preparing, not for an end, but a return. Perhaps all you need is to notice what seemed unimportant. To open night's door not to emptiness, but to a temple. Then you'll understand. Death isn't an enemy. It's an old acquaintance. You've met before, just called it by another name. Sleep. Every night you take a journey you don't suspect. Your body stays put, but your soul leaves, where there's no time, where thoughts become reality, where truth reveals itself in symbols and sensations. Edgar Cayce spent his life conveying this simple truth. Sleep isn't just rest. It's revelation. It's a path. It's training for what will one day happen to us all. If you learn to listen to your dreams, record them, reflect on them, you'll begin to see what's hidden by day. See who you truly are. Now you know. Every dream could be a step toward your soul. Thus, every night brings a chance to remember. Share in comments. Have you had unforgettable dreams? Have you ever become lucid while dreaming? Like if this made you think. Subscribe for more mysteries beyond ordinary perception. We've only begun. What lies ahead goes deeper, closer to what's hidden, after everything.